I hope you all are doing well in this difficult time of COVID-19 that we are going through. So, coming to the topic, that is career as a Supreme Court lawyer. This topic looks very much, attractive. It looks very much like, oh, Supreme Court lawyer or being a Supreme Court lawyer. To be honest, it's actually not a big deal being a Supreme Court lawyer if you have really put in hard work to reach there. People like me or people like anybody who comes from a small town, who comes from a traditional college. I have done my BLLB from Madhusudan Law College. I have done my master's from Jamia Millia Islamia. So coming to my BLLB, since colleges like Madhusudan Law College and such other contemporary colleges, these are all traditional colleges. It's a very, when in that position, when we were as a student, it used to be a big thing that, oh, one day one day we aspire to go to Delhi and practice as a Supreme Court judge, or sorry, as a Supreme Court lawyer. I also had the same aspiration, no doubt about that. But just by holding on to the aspiration won't do. You have to really put in your hard work. You have to just click the right buttons. You have to know which path to choose, which path not to. Coming to, if any of you are envisaging to have a career in Supreme Court, then there are many options. You can directly, join a senior there and start litigation. You can join a law firm and get exposed to both the corporate as well as litigation work. Or else there is always a scope of, after you have gathered much experience and after you have worked under an advocate on record with probably a good deal of 10 years of practice, then you have the scope of also sitting in for the exam of advocate on record. Now, these are some of the prospects. So these are some of the, what I could say, periphery of litigating in a Supreme Court. But as per my experience so far, I would like to retrospect on how I started my career and how did I step into being a Supreme Court lawyer. The first thing that any of you who are dreaming or who are aspiring to be a Supreme Court lawyer, you must, no doubt, you have to go to Delhi, you have to join somebody there. That is the first one needs to do anyhow. So the first thing you need to do is, rather than catching hold of some big law firm or some big shot lawyer, you must start from the bottom. Because if Supreme Court is the summit, then you have to climb very steadily. You have to climb to reach the summit. And the climb has to be very thoughtful. It has to be very much, with lots of, you have to decide a lot. You have to, very calculative steps has to be taken in order to reach there. So I would suggest for the people who are aspiring to reach there, you need to join a small law firm. Because what happens is that when you join a small law firm in Delhi, you get the experience of practicing in the trial courts. You get the experience of with clients, of the lower level of clients, because Supreme Court being the apex court, it is the court where it is always the deciding authority. When the litigant has failed in the trial courts, when the litigant has failed in the high court, then the only remedy where he or she can get is the Supreme Court. Reach there, you first understand the roots. You need to first understand that how the root level functions. For example, if we talk about examination, cross-examinations, or how the witnesses are conducted, that's a very, very important process in a trial. And that only happens in the trial court. It doesn't happen in Supreme Court. All the evidences are gathered in the trial court. And after that, after you say you've already put in lots of effort to, you can say, to build something. When you're building up a case, you have put in hell lot of effort to build that case, to give to give your client justice. So all these things of examination, gathering evidences, of cross-examining the other party, everything happens in the trial court. And then
Ma'am,
after
sorry
the
for the
High Court.
interruption. Ma'am, sorry for the interruption. Actually,
Yeah.
some of the participant can't hear you, because can you say it little bit louder, because some of the participant for them it is not audible.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. No, I have absolute, yeah. Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes, yes,
Am
ma'am.
I audible now
Yes,
to
ma'am. Yes,
everybody? I hope everybody can hear me now.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now it's audible.
So shall I?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry for the problem. Yeah. So what I was saying is that when anybody who is aiming to practice in Supreme Court, you cannot hit the bullseye directly. You need to start from the basics. In order to reach there, you need to first understand how did a particular matter go till that stage, because Supreme Court is the apex court. It's the final deciding authority. It's always when the lost hope, or when the litigant didn't get any relief from the lower courts, from the trial court, from the high court, then it is when we approach the Supreme Court. So you need to first understand the root level, and to understand the root level, join a big law firm there, you will never get the opportunity to understand how this trial station. So the first thing for anybody who's aspiring to someday become a Supreme Court practice there, you need to first do fully in trial courts. Then what happens? You get the knack of it is not strong, the branches cannot grow, or somehow the tree will topple down if the root is not strong. So you have to make your root strong, and that can happen if you understand how the trial courts function, how as a litigator you must approach the trial court, how you must, I mean, what are the things that a judge wants? What are the things a judge wants to hear? Because trial courts, the way a trial court function, the way a Supreme Court function or a High Court functions is completely different. Three are completely different aspects. We are completely different institutions functioning in their own way. So you need to first gain your experience as a trial court lawyer, and when you are able to know, okay, oh, this is how the case is built up, this is how we can conduct evidences, this is how we can file admission denial of documents, or this is how we can cross-examine our clients, or this is how we can file the final arguments, the final written submissions. These are all the important parts in a trial procedure. So once you're thorough with the trial procedure, probably it will take you around, I think, a couple of years, or 2 to 3 years, to understand the trial court basics. And obviously, your span when you are practicing, or when you're interning or whatever under a trial court lawyer, you have to really work very, very, very hard. 24/7, you must work hard, because that would be the first baby steps you will be taking. Once you are clear that, okay, now I can understand something, because I'm sure if you have put in that much of hard work, then within 2 or 3 years, you will get a very good knack of the things. And yes, side by side, you must also concentrate in the high courts, because what happens is trial courts, and when you're in the final, when any argument is in the final stage, it doesn't take much time to reach the high court. It only takes 30 to 60 days to reach the high court. So once that part is done, then you can join a big law firm, or you can join some big shot advocates, and there are n number of big shot lawyers in Delhi, no doubt about that. So joining them or practicing under them will again give you how to deal, will give you a knack of how to work in a Supreme Court. Because what happens is, when you are working in a big law firm, you get to deal with big clients who are among the most powerful people in the country. You get to deal with big cases you get to, the judgments that we read in books, they are because of those big clients who have approached the big law firms. And that is how their litigation, or you can say their corporate matters, whatever, their things have come to the litigation has come to the court, and that has been adjudicated by the Honorable Supreme Court. And that is how that has turned out to be judgments which we read as precedent, which we cite in our papers when we were students. We used to cite these things in our papers, and we used to get marks for that. Even judicial aspirants also, it is important for judicial aspirants to also know the leading case laws. So all these things comes when you are within that only, within that periphery itself. That periphery, I mean to say, when you're joining, when you're joining a big law firm, or or you're practicing under some big shot lawyer who in Supreme Court, then the advantage that you get is you get to deal directly with the clients. And those clients are not some kind of, those clients are really some big clients. And accordingly, what happens, the briefs that you get to manage, that is also something which is going to be held as precedence in coming time. That is how you learn. Apart from that, you get to brief the senior advocates in Supreme Court. Briefing, that's a very, very important part of practice in Supreme Court. You must know how to brief which lawyer when. Every senior advocate has got a different approach of briefing. If Mr. Rohadgi has one approach and Mr. Katie Stulsi has another approach, they all have got different approaches. So that is something that you will learn with time. With time, you will learn when you are in that environment, when you get the opportunity to work with those kind of matters, when you get to work in these kind of matters, when you get to brief these seniors. These are the things which will definitely polish you and help you, to build your image. And then with time, you can be on your own, and you can be practicing in your own in Supreme Court. So what is important? There are certain things that is very, very important, be it if you're envisaging of a career in Supreme Court, or if you are envisaging your career in any other courts. You must develop that passion for law. Honestly, if you ask me, then that is the root of everything. Hard work, your opportunity, your right frame of time, everything is secondary. The first thing is, if you do not have a passion, you can't just excel in that career. So it's very important. And definitely if it comes to me, or how I did develop passion, since being born and brought up in an advocate's family, I have grown up, seeing those briefs, how the clients are being counseled, how we are preparing the clients for the examination. So this is one advantage that people from legal background get, being exposed within the atmosphere. They get the chance. They somehow develop this habit during the course of time. They somehow develop, because every day they see because every day they see these things happening. Every day they're seeing clients coming. Every day they're seeing briefs being drafted. Every day they're seeing clients being counseled. And every day, a lot of things, the discussions, that complete litigation atmosphere is all around. So that helps, no doubt about that. Apart from that, it is also, coming to people who are from a non-legal background, even for them also, I wouldn't say the journey is difficult. If you have the passion, if you have the will, then it won't take you much time to reach the Supreme Court, because anything is possible. Absolutely everything is possible in that. I think somebody is facing some audio problem. Is my voice not yet audible? Yeah, hello. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, I shall continue further. Now, for those people who are aiming your career in Supreme Court, I would say that please take the first step to find somebody, oh, thank you so much. Joining some small law firm, if you really want to work hard, if you really want to reach to the top, Or to the contrary, if you directly if you directly join Supreme Court lawyer, then what happens is your roots are not strong, your basics are weak. So you will, someday or the other, you will tumble down. So the first step that you should take is, please go and join somebody, a small law firm. Try to catch hold of the briefs. Try to interact with the clients directly. Snatch as much opportunities as you can in order to appear in courts, because that is what I have done as well. I had the opportunity of simultaneously traveling to and fro to 2 to 3 states in one day and during hearings. And the best part is, since the clients are not big shots, the senior won't even be scared to give you, to allow you to argue, because even if you lose, they don't have much to lose either. But then, if you have taken that thing if you really take your brief seriously, then that would be a very, very, very a great opportunity for you, because you will get a chance to argue. I remember I got a chance to argue in front of Justice Joseph when he was the Chief Justice of Nainital High Court. And that very day, it was an admission matter, it was a PIL on mining matter. And my senior had been very kind enough to give me the opportunity to go and argue there. But that was the changing time for me, because I got to argue there for 45 minutes. And that very day, Mr. Justice Joseph got elevated to Supreme Court. So these are the opportunities that you grab. I mean, obviously, for somebody coming from a small place of like Cuttack, for somebody doing his BLLB from a traditional university, going and arguing in front of such big dignitaries itself is something that I hadn't dreamt of ever. And I'm sure quite a lot of people can't dream of. But you never know. You never know when destiny will play its role, when things will turn, and when things will all go in your favor. Everything is possible. You just need to have that hope, that positivity, and obviously the passion is very, very important. Apart from that, you need to really work hard and just keep your eyes open, because the competition level is very, very, very high in Delhi. Every single person wants to take the brief. Every single person wants to take, everybody wants to snatch the opportunity. So you have to be very alert. You have to completely safeguard your brief. You have to completely safeguard your opportunities, so that it's only you and you who gets the opportunity to do it. And once you do it, then obviously the things will be very, 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 clear for you in the long run. So anybody has any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Or shall...
Yes, some of the participants having questions. What is AOR? AOR, that is the first question they have asked.
Okay, AOR is...
Is there any chance for newcomers to be a AOR? Or is there any experience needed?
Okay, see, AOR is advocate on record. What happens is, when you file any petitions in Supreme Court, it has to be filed by AOR, that is advocate on record. For that, you have to pass an exam. So it's basically, the filing authority lies in the advocate on record, whosoever the person is. And yes, experience is required, though the criteria says that you need to work for 1 year within under an AOR who has got almost 10 years of experience. But then, to be honest, it's apart from working with for 1 year under an AOR, you must also have experience on a personal level, because the papers are very tough. They ask you on the drafting. One of the paper is drafting. They will give you a case law. They won't give you a case law. They'll give you a situation. They will give you they might give you a contract. They might give you anything, and they will give you. And in the end, they will ask you to draft SLP. They'll ask you to draft a special if petition. They'll ask you to draft a writ under Article 32. So all these things, you cannot draft something just like that. That only comes with experience. The more you draft, the more you get exposed to number of cases. That is how your drafting will be enhanced. So if you ask me on a personal level, yes, experience is required to crack the exam. But to sit for the exam, you need to work under an AOR for a year.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is
Yes, ma'am.
where was
What's the difference between the trial
yeah?
court
Tell me.
procedure and Supreme Court trial procedure?
Okay. Uh, as I told you, the difference trial court practices in the roots. For example, if you're instituting a suit, that the first court where it will rise is will be in the trial court. You will be as per its pecuniary, as per its territorial, as per its subject matter jurisdiction. It will go to the concerned civil judge, or in civil judge come JM or MM as per the state, whatever it is. So what happens is that is how you institute a suit in a trial court. That is, once you're filing it, after that the entire process of trial begins. The trial stage has not yet commenced. You have filed it, and after that the opposite party filed the reply. Then after that you have to file those admission and denial of affidavit of admission, denial, list of witnesses, list of documents. A lot of things needs to be filed. Then what happens, the most important and crucial stage is your evidence stage. Evidence, you have to exhibit the evidences, you have to cross-examine the parties, and then finally when everything is over, then the judge is kind enough, after perusing all the facts and circumstances, to deliver a judgment or to deliver an order, whatever it is. So once that is how is a trial court procedure. But Supreme Court is not a trial court, except in some cases where Supreme Court has got original jurisdiction. There are some matters where there is original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. But what I was referring some time back was that these are the process that you can only learn in a trial court. These are not the process that you learn in Supreme Court, because Supreme Court won't hear you for more than 2 minutes. Court doesn't have time to hear you for more than 2 minutes. You file it, and unless the argument stage doesn't come, the matter is listed before the registrar for all the tidbits of filing, for all the miscellaneous filing. All these filing goes in the registrar court, or it will go on it will come to the chamber hearing of the judges. It will not come directly to the bench. It's only when the matter comes to the stage of hearing or fruitful hearing, then it comes to the bench, to the actual bench. So this is so what happens is you can't learn that process that you learn. Obviously this is one stage that you're learning where in the Supreme Court, but the basic route is what you learn in the trial court. I hope I have been able to answer your query.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have another question that suppose I am a law student. I am belong to some traditional university, or I belong to some area of India. Usually, the internship application which a law student give to Supreme Court lawyer, it got rejected by stating that there is no vacancy available. At the same time, other students with some political or legal background gets it easily. So what is the trick and how you should get selected for the internship? How to access the senior advocates in the Supreme Court?
If you ask me informally, I would say jugaad. Jugaad is a very common word in Delhi that we use. Anything, because yes, even I had faced this problem, but for some or the other reason, I got the opportunity to intern in a very good law firm in Delhi and all. So you have to, as I say, you have to pull the right strings. If generally what happens is people don't accept interns from a traditional university. Even when I had the opportunity, when I get to recruit interns, I also have to certain parameters of a law firm or of a senior advocate, that they want the intern to be from so and so colleges or something. Most of the time, it is not traditional university, and the these big firms, they deal with big matters, and they have crores and crores of millions of money. I would say not crores; there are millions of money in stake. We generally we try to delegate some work to the interns. Their interns, we give them, hand over them some files to do, and if they don't have that much of knack, they can't give you enough work, or they can't give us the result that we desire from them. So that is one reason why generally we generally don't I wouldn't say me, but generally the law firms or the or the big lawyers in Delhi, they don't opt for traditional university internees. So if you have got good contacts, then use it, and maybe that is how you can get through. That is the only way to get through, if at all. I would say, I mean, informally, formally, whatever, but I believe it is through good contacts you can get through. And obviously otherwise there is no otherwise, actually. So any further question?
And what will be your last tips for the students who are doing their LLB or in the fourth year or fifth year, and they are confused about what to choose, or they are not that much confident that they can try in the practice sector, that too in the Supreme Court? So what will be your tips? Because you said that you belong to a traditional university from a small town and you are in the Supreme Court now. So what will be your tips for them, how they should improve and how to develop their interpersonal skills? So what should they do from now?
Okay, if you are still students, if you are in the 5 years or 3 years, uh, then I think moot court is what actually helps you a lot, because for 5 years during my BLLB, I have been consistently doing moot courts and moot courts and moot courts, national, state, everything that came my way. So if you're aiming to someday be a litigator in a Supreme Court, the first thing is start start by mooting, because it gives you a confidence, it gives you how to draft, it gives you the courage to face the judge, to face the people, because when you're mooting, then the entire public is watching you, the judges are watching you, your college people are watching you, everybody is watching you. So one, moot court is very much important for your self grooming. Then second, obviously, if you're aiming that, as I told you earlier as well, try to catch hold of some kind of a small law firm or a practicing lawyer in trial court to begin from the roots. My humble request to everyone, please don't jump in the bandwagon and say कि no, मुझे तो Supreme Court का वकील बनना ही है करके. Don't just jump into it and join a Supreme Court lawyer. Don't do that blunder. Start from the roots, join somebody there who has got some good deal of, fair, decent cases. Learn how the things function, learn how people function, how lawyers function in Delhi, how clans deal in Delhi, how they deal with the clans. Because the approach that Orissa people have, that is very much different from Delhi. In Delhi, every single person is working hard, every single person is running after brief. You won't see a single person who would be sitting idle and saying, okay, let today go by, tomorrow we'll work. Nobody. So that's an absolutely cutthroat competition there. To survive within that competition, you have to equally put in that much of effort, because that is how, and obviously you have to pull in the right string. So you must know the direction. If you're clear that I really want to pursue my career as a Supreme Court litigator, then join the roots. I mean, start from the basics. First, join a trial court lawyer. Then after that, start doing high court matters. Side by side, start visiting Supreme Court. Yes, it's very important for you. Even if you're not appearing, you must sit in the courtroom and watch. Because what the advantage that you get is, one, you get to know the approach of the judges, what they want. Second is, you also get to know a hell lot of things, because there are n number of lawyers who are presenting. You get to see the big shots lawyer there. You get to see, I mean, big lawyers doing their submissions. Let it be Mr. Rodki, or let it be Mr. K.T.S. Tulsi, or let it be Mr. Kapil Sibal. That's an everyday business for them to go and appear there. And when you see them, you get to learn a lot from them. No doubt about that. So these are the small tips. And obviously, the passion within you must not die, no matter what the circumstances, no matter how difficult the time is, no matter how very adverse the situation is, the passion should be alive. That is very much important. Thank you all. And any more questions?
Ma'am, is there any standard salary for the new advocates, or it depend on the discretion of the senior advocates only? Or how to survive in Delhi as a...
No. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, tell me. Yes?
Ma'am, the question is, is there any standard salary for the new advocates, or it depends only on the discretion of the senior advocate? Or how to survive if your salary is very low, how to survive in this city like Delhi? So that will be very difficult for any new Supreme Court
You,
practitioner.
yeah, the salary is at the discretion of the lawyer, no doubt. And obviously, your resume adds on to it. They check your resume, they check your past salary, that from which college you are, where did you work in the past. If you have already worked in a big firm, then you say you get a hike in salary. And yes, it's completely at the discretion. It's completely at the discretion of the employer. I mean, there is nothing that can be done about that. But yes, to survive, you have to somehow learn to cut your cloth according to the to cut your suit according to the cloth, because this, there is a limited means. I mean, if you have been really working hard, the good point in working in Delhi is that if you have really made your mark there, or if your work is laudable, then companies will be ready to pay you the amount of money that you want. But that will only come after years of practice. It never comes in the initial stage. And in the initial stage, you have to survive with whatever they give you. So rather than focusing on the money in the initial stage, you must focus on the work. Because probably in a period of 5 to 6 years, or 5 minimum years, I would say, you will be in a position where you can demand salary, or where you can quote a particular price from the company, and the company will be very happy to give you, because obviously if your work must be such that they will be happy to hire you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, ma'am, for
Any
enlightening
further
us.
questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you for enlightening